of 1990, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And I can remember thinking, now, I've never been drunk, I never smoked anything, so this can't be right. They must want money. Because, you know, they make you do all these tests. And I started doing the tests, and all the tests revealed that what the doctor was telling me was correct. And so I started the treatments that they had prescribed for me. And in that course of time, there was something in my heart tugging toward the Lord. I mean, there were nights, maybe a week on end, that I could not sleep. Didn't know why I couldn't sleep. And we lived in an apartment. And I remember the night before I went for a really big MRI exam, there was a fight right outside of our window. And I remember being really, really scared. And I had seen fights before, kids fighting, but that fight really scared me. And I think what it did is that God wanted me to begin depending on Him right that very moment. So the next day we got to the hospital, and I was scared because the machine is only as wide as I am. And I could not figure out how I was going to fit in the machine and be able to breathe at the same time. So they give you the little sedation and you go in. And I remember lying on that table, and I remember saying, Lord, I don't know who you are, but I want to serve you, and I want to do whatever you need me to do for you. Yeah. And I remember at that very moment there was a peace that came over me. And Daryl and I, we were actually living in sin at that time. And from that moment on, there was no peace in the apartment we lived in, because I think at the very moment that God saved me, Daryl was already saved. I really believe that. Maybe not living the life of a Christian, but I believe that at the moment that He saved me, He was able to bless us. And we were planning this big wedding in Jackson. So our pastor started mentoring us, and I believe the Lord spoke to him and said that you need to marry these kids. They don't know what they're doing, you need to marry them. He started mentoring us and doing the counseling, and he told us, well, go ahead and get your marriage license. You know, it's good for a year, so, you know, we're done. We go get the marriage license. And he said, well, you know, come to church Sunday, but be on time. And we were there, and for some reason I wore a white dress. I don't know why I wore a white dress. But at the end of service, he said, we're going to have a wedding today. And we got married that Sunday at church. I never told anybody because we were, I guess, afraid that they would be mad that they were still working on this wedding. But I thank God for that. And the other thing I want to let you know is that God is an awesome God. I mean, I don't have that tumor anymore. It is gone. His purpose was to get me to serve Him. And I thank Him for that, because otherwise I was going to hell. I was a good child, you know, that child that the mother and dad always bragged on and loved, but I was not the child that He needed me to be for Him. So I thank Him that He's been able to let me do both. Be the child for my parents that they need me to be, and also be the child for Him.